Welcome back to Questing Beast. I'm Ben. Today I'm going to show you a new technique for drawing mountains that I've been working on. I've seen several other artists do this way, and I've been practicing a bit, and I think it looks great. It's a little bit more labor intensive than some of the other mountain techniques, but I think it pays off. The mountains look very steep, forbidding, they look very physical, very three-dimensional. So if that's the look that you're going for, then this can be a great trick. So, to start out with, the first thing to think about is that mountain ranges are usually connected. They are usually one continuous chain, which means that their peaks are often connected in a kind of ridge line. So what this technique uses is to draw the ridge line first. And that can be done just by drawing a line that's jagged and irregular, but is all connected. And you can really kind of go wild with this. I'll show you what it should look like in general, though. You can go back and forth, go up and down. Mountain ranges are not all exactly in a row. So something like that. It's like an irregular kind of jagged line that weaves around. And that's going to be the ridge line, where all the peaks of the mountains connect to one another. Now, going from here, what we do is we look at each of the peaks, in other words, an area where the line changes direction, and we draw a slope going down from it. On either side, whichever looks more appropriate for the three-dimensionality, usually on the outside, whatever you consider to be the outside. You want the slopes to start out fairly steep and then kind of smooth out. You want to add maybe a few details of smaller slopes coming down from less prominent areas. And the mountain range kind of takes shape. You feel it out as you go. So as you can see, it's already starting to take shape. It's already starting to look like an unbroken ridge of mountains, although you can see individual mountains in there. Don't make all the slopes regular, make some of them steeper than others. Just kind of play around with it. So this method is more procedural. Instead of having to figure out where each mountain is and how it's connected to the other ones, you start with the ridge and then you just sort of work your way down. And the mountain range's shape just kind of takes care of itself. Just kind of emerges on its own. As you're drawing these slopes, you sometimes realize, oh, the mountain's actually shaped like this and not like this. And you just kind of go with it. And I start from the top and go to the bottom, because that way I can have things overlap. I suppose you could do it either way, actually. Maybe going from the bottom up would work better, because that way you would know what to put behind other things. But I just kind of feel it out. Now see, if I went in this direction here, it wouldn't really make any sense, because there's no reason I would be able to see things on that side of it. So I'm just going to kind of go in this direction here like this. Alright, so this is a very steep mountain. And these are some ridges that kind of come down this way. I kind of creating these sort of little triangular shapes near the top every once in a while. You kind of create the illusion of like angles in the rock face. And by the length of the slope, you can kind of determine how tall the mountain range is. Although sometimes you're forced to make places taller than others just by the nature of the geography. If, for example, these mountains here are fairly short, and if I decide to make this area short as well, it wouldn't really make any sense, because you can just kind of see that the land would have to rise up and then have a mountain and then go down again. Just because of the nature of the perspective, you can tell this area is taller. So you just do what looks appropriate. So there we have it. It's a very three-dimensional mountain range, done with fairly minimal work. And it looks great compared to the amount of work that you put into it. As long as you follow the ridge line first, and then slopes moving down from the peaks and from the little ridges in appropriate directions. It can take a little practice to figure out exactly what's the appropriate direction. But you want it to keep it looking three-dimensional. You want to have mountains hidden behind other mountains, ridges falling behind other ridges, and that really helps it pop. And then usually a good technique from this is to add a touch of shading, which is easy enough to do. So you want to have shading that's going in the same direction as the slopes, so down like that. And we just pick one side. Imagine that the sunlight's coming from either that side or that side. That's usually the easiest way to do it. And this allows you to really add more detail in terms of how the mountain slope moves down and casts a shadow as well. So you can have shadows of the mountains move out into these plains. This needs a little, there we go. Make sure your shading is lighter than the slope shapes that you were putting in, so they're distinct from one another. And there you have it. Now, of course, mountain ranges are usually not just a single row of mountains. It's usually more like a region full of mountains. So this is easy enough to accomplish. You can simply add another twisty line of ridges over here, and then make mountains, and then make sure that you connect up their ridges to one another, so that it all looks like one continuous area that's rising and falling in ranges of mountains. You can add a smaller mountain range next to a mountain in order to create an effect of foothills. That's usually a good idea. That's simple enough. It's the same technique. It's only you just do it on a smaller scale, make the slope smaller. You can have little foothills go on either side. You can have mountain ranges and then lower mountains and then big mountains again, back and forth. or interchange them. You can have a range that's a mix of smaller mountains rising to bigger ones and then smaller ones again. And then mixing that together in a region and usually going in one general direction, because that's what mountain ranges tend to do, you'll end up with a very thematic and very rich feeling mountain range. You can see a little bit of that technique on this map sketch that I did a little while ago, where you can see these big mountains, and then I added some small ridges of little mountains on the sides in order to make it feel a little bit more realistic and to add more texture to the map. And I added some little ridges over here, little mountain ranges or little foothill ranges, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Look good as hills and ways to add a little texture to the map. It's also a good idea, as you can see here, to kind of stretch out the slopes a little bit, make these little rough lines moving away from the mountains to indicate that the mountains don't just stop at an angle in the earth, right? They sort of rumble away into the plains. There you have it. New mountain technique. Advanced mountain drawing. That's it for today. Check back later for more videos. If you want more detail on how to draw mountains like this, let me know, including foothills and things like that. I wasn't sure how much to add to this video, but if you'd like more information, let me know. I may add some more videos on how to draw forests. I've sort of refined my forest technique a little bit, the one that I prefer, and if you're interested in that, I may show you how to do that as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know if this is helpful. Subscribe to my other video, and I'll see you later. Thank you for watching.